These lists are the top players heading into this season at their position. So let's start with pitchers, and let's start with number 10. I'm going to bring my producer Conrad out here to lead me on my way.
All right, Ben. Coming at number 10, we have Brandon Woodruff.
Yes, Brandon Woodruff, who is becoming an absolute stud for the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, for the past couple of years, I feel like it was that postseason when he got the big hit against the Dodgers, but he threw really well. I feel like that was kind of the postseason that like really put him on the map. And ever since, he has just been a dominant force in that rotation that just has a bunch of dominant forces. So I look for Brandon Woodruff to, again, get even better. He's a young guy. I'm excited to watch him pitch coming into this year.
Number 9, a man that we got close to seeing last year, Max Fried.
Yes, Max Fried. Now, I really believe Max Fried here is going to really come onto the scene in 2022. He wasn't a top 10 pitcher in baseball in 2021, but I believe he will be in 2022. And I'm gonna put him here at number 9, just from what we saw down the stretch from him in the second half of the year in the World Series. That experience you get in the World Series is invaluable. So then you get to the next year and you're in the regular season and you just build off of everything you learned the prior year. He had some struggles and then he fixed them. He was dominant and then he did well in the World Series, especially that last game he pitched. So I look for Max Fried to really even more so come on the scene and be a top 10 pitcher in 2022.
Coming in number 8, I see a theme here in the NL, Zack Wheeler.
Yeah, we got a little National League theme here, which I do want to talk about in a little while because you're right, there is a theme here. Zack Wheeler of the Philadelphia Phillies, who really in the last couple of years, again, has taken himself from a good pitcher with great stuff to figuring out how to pitch. And that's kind of the theme on this list you'll see, is pitchers with great stuff that have learned how to dominate with that great stuff. And Zack Wheeler was a Cy Young contender last year in the National League, and I look for him to just build on top of that and be an elite pitcher in the game again in 2022.
Coming in number 7, I hope I'm not mispronouncing this, Justin Verlander?
That's right, number 7, Justin Verlander. You got that correct. Good job there. Look, this one's simple. My brother is, I believe, going to be a top 10 pitcher in the league in 2022 for this reason. He's missed 2 seasons, pretty much. He pitched 1 game in 2020, missed all of 2021 with Tommy John. But he's back. And he feels great. He feels better than he has in a long time. And the last full season that my brother has pitched, he won the Cy Young Award. He was the best pitcher in the league his last full season. So you think I'm going to stand up here and not put him on a top 10 pitchers list heading into his next full season? No, that's not going to happen. My brother, who is coming back with the Houston Astros, is going to be a top 10 pitcher in the league in 2022.
Love to see it. Coming at number 6, Cy Young winner from last season, Robbie Ray.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Friend of the pod. Friend of the pod, Robbie Ray. Another guy, like I told you, there's going to be a theme on this list. Another guy that has had great stuff that seemingly figured it out. And last year, he absolutely figured it out. He won the Cy Young Award. He was dominant. He had a sub-3 ERA in the American League, which is very difficult to do. The best ERA in the American League. But will he be the same? He won the Cy Young Award. Can he be that guy? I don't know. He's changing locations. He's going to go out and pitch for Conrad, your team, the Mariners.
Love to see that.
Big pickup there. Will he have the same year? I don't know. But I do know this. He's a great pitcher with dominant stuff that figured out how to use that dominant stuff. And right here on this show, he talked about the changes he made, the differences that he did, the stuff he did with his mechanics to make him the pitcher that he is today. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back and listen to it, especially if you were a Blue Jays fan or now a Mariners fan or just a big Robbie Ray fan. But number 6 on this list, Robbie Ray. So that's 10 through 6. Let's head on to the top 5, Conrad. Who we got at number 5?
Come in number 5, Gerrit Cole. He has a couple Cy Youngs as well.
He does. And this is an interesting one for me. Gerrit Cole is an interesting one because last year he dominated. I mean, dominated. And then down the stretch, it was a struggle. It was a struggle for him in a few games. He had some duds. So that's what I have to go off of. You know, a lot of these pitchers had the great stuff and then got better and better and better, and now I think are going to have a great 2022. Gerrit Cole has the great stuff. He has a bunch of accolades. He's a stud. He is one of the best pitchers in baseball, no matter where you want to put him on this list. But he didn't end the season great. So what does that mean heading into 2022? He's an interesting one for me. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be the ace of that staff. He's going to be a top 10 pitcher in baseball. But is he going to be one or two, which he has the potential to get to? We'll see. But in my opinion, he's going to be at number 5, and that's where I have him on this list.
Number 4, going to the Dodgers, Walker Buehler.
Walker Buehler, Los Angeles Dodgers, friend of the pod as well. This guy just keeps getting better and better and better, and he's so young. And this is a guy that has that great stuff, that knew how to use that great stuff when he came into the league. And I think that's why he is where he is, because he's probably the youngest guy up top at the top of this list. And that's a credit to, and when I talked to him about this, a big credit of that is to where he pitched in college, Vanderbilt. And those guys just pump out the major league pitchers, and they come in ready. So Walker Buehler comes in with that nasty stuff, and he knew how to pitch. So now here he is, just getting older and better, but just knowing how to use it better and better and better. He's going to take off again this year. He's going to be a Cy Young candidate as he was last year, and I look for Walker Buehler to be the 4th best pitcher this year.
Love it. Coming number 3, Mad Max, Max Scherzer.
Mad Max, Max Scherzer at number 3 on this list. A new deal signed with the New York Mets. He's going to make a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. Now, let's talk about why he's number 3. Well, he's another year older. He also had some games down the stretch where, look, he was used a lot last year. I'm sure there was a toll on his body and his arm. But down the stretch as well, there were some duds. But make no mistake about it, Max Scherzer is an elite pitcher in this game. I think he will be a top 3 pitcher this year, which is why I have him at number 3. I think going to New York, I think he has the perfect personality to be a star athlete in New York City. And I think New York's going to eat it up. I think Mets fans are going to absolutely love him. And I think there's going to be a great 1-2 punch in that rotation, which maybe or maybe not we'll get to in a minute. Let's move on to number 2.
Number 2, last year's NL Cy Young winner, Corbin Burnes.
I love Corbin Burnes. He is an absolute electric factory out there on the mound. His stuff is incredible. He's throwing 100-mile-an-hour cutters, and he's learning to use everything. So now you have this Brewers rotation with Corbin Burnes, with Brandon Woodruff, and with Freddie Peralta, who I couldn't even fit on this list, with 3 certified aces. But Corbin Burnes, I believe, is the best of those aces. And I think he's going to take an even more of a turn to becoming a better and better pitcher. We saw what he did last year. He won the Cy Young Award. But he really kind of came onto the map last year. He really kind of came out of nowhere to the average baseball fan with the beginning of that season, where he broke the record for all-time consecutive strikeouts without a walk. So not only is this guy throwing 100-mile-an-hour cutters with a wipeout slider and great other pitches, he's also not walking anybody, which is crazy. But he is learning how to use that elite level stuff at an elite level. He's learning how to pitch at an elite level. And we're seeing that pay off. And I'm excited. Man, am I excited. When I think about this 2022 season and I think of who I'm excited to watch pitch, this guy's at the top of that list for sure. But he's at number 2. So let's talk about number 1.
Number 1 must be pretty good, and he is Jacob deGrom.
Jacob deGrom, the best pitcher on planet Earth right now. And there's no arguing that. What I want from this guy right here, from Jacob deGrom, is to be healthy. Please. What we saw from him in 2021 was going to arguably be the greatest season of all time by a pitcher. And then he got hurt. And he missed the end of the season. He missed a lot of the season. So what can we get from this guy? Will he stay healthy? I say yes. That's why I have him at number 1. But more than that, we know Jacob deGrom is the best, most electric, dominant pitcher on the planet right now. Use whatever adjective you want to describe him. He's the best pitcher in baseball. Can he stay healthy? And the reason I'm excited to watch him over everybody else is because there's a chance we could see the best season of all time by a pitcher. And how often can you say that heading into a season, especially in this day and age? Baseball's been around for a long, long time. It's America's pastime. I think heading into this season, Jacob deGrom will be the best pitcher. I think it was an easy decision. But this was my top 10 pitchers heading into the 2022 season.
Let me get this right, though. 7 out of the 10 guys from the National League?
Yeah, that's a good point. 7 out of these 10 were National League guys. Now, let's talk about that for a second. In 2021, this past season, of the top 15 pitchers in baseball, the top 15, 13 of those were from the National League. Only 2 of those, one being friend of the pod, Robbie Ray, and the other being Lance McCullers, were from the American League. Now, why is that so? And why do I think that will be a little bit different? At least by this list, I have 3 American League guys in my top 10. Well, the DH. Now, the designated hitter is, by all accounts, going to be universal now in both leagues. That, of everything, is pretty much a sure thing. Let me break this down to you as easily as possible. You have a pitcher in the National League. Every 9 at-bats, that pitcher gets to face an awful hitter, somebody like my brother, who steps in the box and looks terrible. And you know he's not going to get hit. He doesn't even care about hitting. Well, my brother does, but he still stinks at it. But my point stands. You have these pitchers that aren't good hitters that you get to face every 9 at-bats in the National League. Now you go to the American League. Well, every 9 at-bats, where you would be facing that pitcher, you're facing David Ortiz, now JD Martinez, some of the best hitters in the game, Nelson Cruz. Think about that. That is a huge difference. And I always remember my brother telling me this, that pitching in the National League is good for almost about a full run difference on your ERA. So look for that to change. I mean, we're not going to be seeing, Corbin Burns had a 2.5 ERA last year. We're not going to see that anymore. Things are going to change. We're going to see the ERAs become a lot closer. And like I said, 13 of the 15 top best pitchers in 2021 were from the National League. That's not going to be the case anymore. We will see more American League pitchers in this top 15.
Last question. If Shohei Ohtani was a full-time pitcher, where would he be on your list?
Oh, that's a good question. If Shohei Ohtani was a full-time pitcher, I would have him, he would be in my top 5 of this list. If he was able to fully focus on just pitching, I have no doubts he'd be an elite pitcher. I have no doubts he'd be in the top 5. Now, do not ask me who from this top 5 I would kick out, because I don't want to answer that question. But I truly believe if he was able to focus on just pitching, he'd be top 5. But please don't, Shohei. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.